Цезари Пискорц Директор по персоналу Philips, СНГ и Россия.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's not easy to be celebrity, you know, the slides. Today I want to tell you the story about cultural transformation of Philips, company I've been working for last 13 years. I was privileged because I was one of so-called transformational leaders, which allowed me not only to look at this change from the daily perspective, how it's going on, but also to reflect from a distance and observe a number of interesting phenomena which had dramatic impact on the overall effectiveness of this change. So the key point here for me is about social energy, which you need in very large amount to transform any cultural system. So where can you find this energy in your organizations? And how can you make this energy working for you? This is, for me, a mega question which I would like to examine together with you during my presentation. So the story starts in 2011. If you, at that time, looked at Philips as a company, you would find the organization having all ingredients to be absolutely successful. So very strong brand, heritage of innovation, also, you know, growth in number of markets, and then competent employees. As a paradox, at the same time, you know, the share prices of Philips were stagnant for the last 10 years. And if you look at competition, they were bringing products faster than we. Employees were complaining about long decision-making processes in the organization and also overwhelmed by the amount of bureaucracy. So if you think about this year, 2011, we, that's not big surprise, got a new chief executive officer, Frans van Houten, who spent his first 100 days traveling across the globe and then diagnosing the situation, trying to understand what is working on, what is not working. As a result, he understood that the change needs to be both profound and also comprehensive. What you see on this slide is the program he launched in 2011, which is called Philips Accelerate Program. Probably it is not the simplest program you could imagine, yet if you summarize the essence of the program, you will find 5 major components. First, customer centricity. Do we understand what our customers really want from us, and can we bring meaningful solutions? Resource to win. In any company, you have plenty of investment opportunities. Can we pick them effectively? And even more importantly, can we make sure that they are resourced to deliver on the return on investment we expect? Operating model. Do we have simple, easy to work in organization, avoiding duplications? End-to-end, you have complicated processes going through various of functions. Do we create value for customers when you see the end of this process? But last but not least, growth and performance culture. It was very clear from the beginning that this is the most important stream. If we are not successful in transforming behavior and attitude of people, we will not also be successful with remaining 4. Looking at, you know, classical studies, 1995, John Cotter, then later, 2008, McKinsey & Company, only 30% of change initiatives are successful. We also heard that during previous presentation. It's not an easy job. And where the initiatives are stumbling most is the critical topic and critical moment, how really make a shift in what people are doing, so their behaviors, and also underlying mindsets. our decision was then to start with being brutally honest with each other. So we asked 7,000 managers across the whole organization to dive deep into behavioral context and to formulate, the bridge. Where are we today in terms of our behaviors we are all doing, including myself, and which are not productive in the end of the day, and which behaviors can replace those behaviors. So you got kind of a journey from to, behavioral journey. But that was not good enough, because you have not only managers in the organization, you have just plenty of people. And those people need to have also a reference point, something simple, something easy to use, something which is relevant to their daily work practice. Therefore, we created kind of a common embracing umbrella, which is called 6 hours competencies. And you have a lot of this stuff in many companies. What is most interesting from my perspective was the way of deploying that. Because what you see here, we call it carpet conversation. That was the leading theme. And basically, we invited people to have in the teams meaningful conversations, just 1 hour talk, allowing them to understand where they are looking at those competencies, what is happening okay in the team, where are the gaps. But we invited them to go wherever they want, even into the forest. And, we got over the first portion of huge positive energy, because people started associating this change positively, emotionally. In any change program, you have the word which is called reinforcement, which is the holy word. And also in our case, from the very beginning, we were making sure that this change is rooted down into a number of organizational processes, starting with individual one-to-ones. We call it heartbeats. So every manager 4 times a year is meeting his own employee on the individual basis, topping various topics, and then making sure that there is follow-up. There is also team heartbeat, where teams are also meeting 4 times a year, and also easy to experience. Manager can pull out questionnaire asking each member of the team, and it's very simple questionnaire, automatically generated, and they can immediately start this conversation looking, okay, what is today's problem in the team? Most important, not abstract things. What is really key here? This quarter. And they are able to discuss that straightforwardly. We were asking ourselves the question, okay, this is not the new stuff. Many companies are doing exactly the same. Is it sufficient? And that was the moment where we concluded, no, it's not sufficient to really transform behaviors and attitude of employees. Therefore, that was the moment when ATP, which stands for Accelerate Team Performance Program, was born. And I need to tell you, this is really unique program, and I haven't seen such a thing during my career. And I will try to explain why. First of all, we need to understand that performance is driven by behavior. And we do believe that behavior is driven by the mindsets, which is a combination of how we think, what are our emotional patterns, and also what do we believe in the end of the day. This is a mindset. So ATP was designed to change, to shift underlying mindsets of people, and as we are changing mindsets of people in the team, then we can also change the mindset in the team. And we designed this program based on so-called Theory U from Otto Scharmer. Theory U basically is saying to you, listen, if you have a problem, you can jump on this problem and try to solve it immediately. But if you need breakthrough solution, it's not good enough. You will not solve this problem with the same level of consciousness you created this problem. So what you need to do, and what your people need to do, is just to work on increasing the level of consciousness of everybody in the team. And that's the mega challenge for the manager in the team, including himself, what is sometimes most difficult. So we were designing this journey according to the theory U, and I need to tell you, this is absolutely uncomfortable because we are all trained, prepared to start acting, to start, diving into essence immediately, while this concept is asking people to stop. Basically, we were asking people to stop focusing on solutions during 2 days. And it's a lot of pain, I can tell you. This is also about specific language which was introduced by this concept. You see elephant in the room, on the balcony, in the dance, stimulus and response. What's that? That's special talk. And then this is, by the way, example of one of the walls in our offices, because that's also the way of reinforcing, just, using whatever channel available. Let me explain why this program is unique. First of all, it starts with the role of manager. And I'm a manager. Many of you are here managers. And we, as managers, we do believe we are the change already, like this guy. But that's not true. And in the spirit of this program, we are asking managers to take the space back to the team, to really be vulnerable, to put the shield down, however difficult it can be. To give you an example, one of these concepts you saw, white elephant. What is white elephant? It's big and white. So basically everybody can see it, but nobody is talking about that. We had a team when 2 members of the team, one responsible for product marketing and second for sales, were fighting like dogs. Everybody knew it, including manager. Nobody was talking about that. And it was basically paralyzing the effectiveness of the team. So this is an example of white elephant. So during this program, we are introducing, facilitating properly this openness, and manager needs to take a step back and let it emerge. And you will not be surprised that quite often, the biggest white elephant is the leadership style of manager himself. I need to admit, I have a lot of respect to my colleagues, managers, who allowed this discussion to happen. They were open to the outcome from this discussion, and they could work on the conclusion of this discussion. That's the real braveness and real maturity of manager, by the way, according to my definition. Second point, which is very important for this program, is that we are, according to the U-curve, diving deep. We are illuminating our blind spots, and this is about understanding why we are behaving in the way we do in our daily life, organizational life. And basically, this brings us to discussing various things like emotions, even fears. Can you imagine that you can talk with your colleagues about what is my biggest fear in life? And I like very much presentation of Natalia from Dość, you've seen previously, because she was very openly telling, I was derailed from my dream by a number of fears. We are doing very similar exercise. So during the session, you see the teams of people getting together based on the major fear which drives them. We'll give you my personal example. So that's the fear of rejection. This is what I understood is my prime fear, which drives my behavior. So how can you find it? You will see me in a number of situations being very detail-oriented. We can call it controlling. And I will just go into that discussion losing the bigger picture. And it may happen quite often. And the question is, why this controlling mindset is so dominating? And the answer is because by controlling, I'm trying to prevent that mistakes will happen. And if mistakes are happening, I can be blamed by them. I can be pointed. In the end of the day, I can be rejected socially. Is it really happening? The answer is no, not so much. But that's my fear. This is what drives me. And then, you know, when you all of a sudden see around you your colleagues driven by the same fear, it's a big relief that you are not alone in that word, and in the end of the day, we are all brothers and sisters in fear. Even your boss is fearful, and you can recognize that. So this point of the program boosts enormous, I would say, openness, understanding, and trust, and people are understanding, yeah, we are all together, even with our fears. Another point which is very important is about, and I think this is essence of this program, is taking ownership for your behavior. We are using so-called hot button concept, so if I'm pushed, I will explode, yes? And you will see it. And it's often happening in our work environment. Number of situations, number of interventions are triggering our overreaction. And you are sending these mails, you know, copying the whole word, and then you are one day later looking at that and say, oh, shit, how could I do it, yes? But that's true. You did it. It's this overreaction. So we are helping people really to understand what kind of a situation is triggering this type of response. What is they self-talk? What are the emotions related to that? What is also behavior visible to the team? What are the values under pressure? And what is the impact, most importantly, of this behavior on the team? This is happening one by one. People are doing that together, and I can tell you that if you start sharing also, you know, the impact on the team, you are getting immediately feedback from other people, you know. You are right, you know, if you are behaving that way, it's unbearable to handle that, yes? And, you know, you have this conversation in the open spirit, and we have many hot buttons. And in the end of the day, it can be that, you know, when my hot button is pushed, you know, I'm pushing also hot buttons of other people, and then there is an explosion of hot buttons, you know, around you. And the team can go home, basically, yes, because it's so much of emotions. So we are teaching people to understand these patterns. Moreover, then you cannot say anymore, this is not about me. Guys, this is, you know, what is happening, but this is because of him, because of her. No, you need to take the ownership for your behavior. And then the second day, we are introducing various techniques, how to model the new behavior, how to respond alternatively to the same situation. And then we are letting people to practice in safe environment these alternative behaviors. And then you all probably know why it's so difficult, because when you are forming the new behavior, you're basically setting new neuronal connections in your brains. So you are, through that program, technically changing the hardwiring of your brain. And this is the reason why it is so difficult. Last but not least, you know, we are getting back to the U-curve, and then we want people to take all this fantastic insight and translate them into action still, to really be able to generate breakthrough solution. So, number of attention points for both the team and individuals. But what I really like is taking the stand. So where you have everybody in the program standing in the front of her own team and then saying, you know, what was the biggest learning based on all insights they gathered during the program. But also what this person declares to himself, herself, in terms of personal change, but also what is the commitment to the team. Tell it to everybody publicly that from tomorrow you will answer all your mails within, you know, 24 hours. It's really working. This ATP program was critical, and this ATP program basically was part of the whole culture transformation. Sorry for jumping. So managers were telling us that basically this program allowed them and their teams to focus much better on what is important, what is the mission critical for the team. Second point was that, you know, much improved the cooperation across the value chain, various functions. We were also mixing teams from various functions which couldn't work together. for that program. And last but not least, the increased level of openness within the team, where really real problems, real issues could be brought and discussed and solved in a constructive manner. That released a huge amount of social energy, which could be utilized for just bringing good results into action. So, I will not spend more time on how this program influenced the Russian organization. It did big time. We could answer in Philips Russia to all those questions positively, which is, I think, the sign of the strength of our corporate culture, what I wish also you to be able to do. So thank you very much. I'm leaving you with the biggest question of today's presentation. Thank you very much.